As the game of basketball has evolved, pick and rolls have become the mainstay of NBA offenses, whether it's to switch hunt weak on-ball defenders or to attack slow-footed bigs. In the 2021-22 season, the Utah Jazz ranked first in percent of possessions that ended directly from ball screens and passes out of it, with that number surpassing 40%. This is even excluding isolations from pick and roll switches and advantages from pick and rolls that took more than one pass to convert. However, there's an action very similar to the pick and roll that does not quite get enough love. That action is actually called a get. In this video, we will detail exactly what a get is, reasons to incorporate this action, and 3 ways the Golden State Warriors utilize it within their offense. A get is essentially a handoff where a player passes it to a teammate just to run right after the pass to get it back. Similar to the pick and roll, it is a 2-man action, except the pass ahead and handoff replaces the dribbling you typically see in a ball screen. Just like the pick and roll, there are plenty of reads involved. Other than receiving the handoff, the first option is to backdoor if the guard is overplayed after giving up the ball. Instead of back cutting, the guard can also pop back into space, taking 3 instead of 2. If the big chooses not to hand the ball off, the guard can also curl for a layup. The last option, if the big's defender tries to cheat the handoff, is to keep it for takeoff instead. So why use the get? For one, it eliminates most of the dribbling and allows for catch and shoot opportunities, favoring shooters who might have a weaker handle. The lack of dribbling also allows the guards to run full speed into the handoff, so instead of having to wait for the screener to get his feet set, like you would in a pick and roll, the guard can take off right away, sometimes even blending the pass and sprint into one motion. Additionally, while the guard certainly has to read the defender, gets turn the bigs into more of a decision maker with the ball in their hands. This certainly favors smart playmaking bigs such as Bam Adebayo and Draymond Green. While gets are certainly dangerous on their own, the Warriors have incorporated it alongside certain actions to further weaponize it. The first place we see the get is actually directly off of a ball screen. Here, the Suns don't get an advantage off the initial pick and roll, so they rescreen to create another opportunity. The Warriors, however, go to a get if the initial ball screen stalls, which allows them to quickly initiate the next action, leaving the big out of position after the initial ball screen coverage. Here, the Trailblazers' aggressive scheme sees them bring 2 to the ball, so when Curry gives it up and runs the get, Dame is left trailing, and Nurkic is unable to be at the level of the screen on the handoff. Towns does a better job of covering the 3-point line on both the ball screen and the get, but when Poole pulls out his dance for the pool party, Towns decided he'd rather just grab it out of the net. Guarding a ball screen with the Splash family is a difficult enough task on its own, but when you have to flow right into guarding a get afterwards, it leaves most defenses discombobulated. The next scenario for a get is also off of a ball screen, except this time the first screener is typically a guard and the get involves the third player. Most teams have to jump out aggressively to take away the 3, so a well-timed get sending Curry downhill leaves the lunging defender in the dust. Here, Grizzlies actually avoid the switch, but the on-ball defender relaxes when Curry gets the ball out of his hands, thinking that his job is done, only to give up an open 3 a few seconds later. It helps that the other player in the get is usually a big, so their defenders are usually sagged deep and help on the initial ball screen, leaving airspace for the non-shooting Looney here, but also a longer closeout to Curry. The third way the Warriors take advantage of gets is after an off-ball screen. Again, due to the 3-point threat of the lead guards, most defenders would rather force them towards the rim. The screener's defender then has to sag to take away the layup from the curl, which means the screener is left standing alone on the perimeter. The ball handler then initiates a get, which, at this point, is pretty much a one-on-one with the screener. Guarding one-on-one in space is difficult enough as is in the NBA. With an extra screener, it's almost impossible. While the get is certainly an effective action on its own, you can see that the Warriors are deliberate in how they implement them within their offense. Obviously, personnel matters, and it helps that they have so many players who are capable of shooting behind handoffs, putting defenses in the dilemma of chasing over or giving up an open 3. This deliberate construction of the offense and optimizing of the get is what ultimately powers the Warriors through to another NBA championship.